Hi everyone, it's Aga from EurocaCrystalBeads.com and I'm here with another fun quick beading tutorial for you. Before I get started, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you always know when we're posting new content. In today's video we're going to be making a really easy pendant using mostly brick stitch around an element, a finding from our new series Ancient Sands, which is a part of our new brand GleamCraft findings, as part of which we will be releasing a new series of findings, a new themed series of findings every several months. So this time we've released a series of findings called Ancient Sands. These are roughly inspired by ancient Egypt, ancient Egyptian jewels, and stuff like that. So here I have a super cute filigree, or rather openwork pendant in the shape of a lotus flower. Here I have a bail that is not a regular pinch bail, but rather this kind of double loop bail, which is really pretty, in my opinion. And here I have this oblong bead that I can really see in some kind of ladder stitch designs, but today we're going to be using it as a drop to hang right there underneath our work. So what you're going to need, apart from these findings, and by the way, in the Ancient Sands findings, there are a lot more of things like this, and also clasps and charms and beads and everything like that. So don't forget to check that out. And this is a limited series, so this means that most of this is not going to come back. This is only for a short period of time, or while supplies last. So go ahead and check them out before they are gone. In addition to these, you're also going to need some beads. Here I have Miyuki Delika beads in this green color, which I think looks a little bit like emeralds. And also some Krakowski bicones that you can also get at Eureka Crystal Beads. In addition to that, we're going to need a needle. Here I have a size 12, I think, or 11 needle, and some fireline 4LB in the color crystal. And of course, some scissors to cut off the excess thread. And in here, I also have some 15s in this dark golden color. Okay, so to start with, you're going to need a little more than half a wingspan of thread. You can use a little bit more if you want to feel safe. Now here's my end, and I'm going to tie it right on to this bit on my pendant or on my charm. And I'm gonna make sure to leave enough thread, enough of a tail, so that I'm able to hide it in between the beads, inside the beads. And I'm just going to do a flat knot, or a square knot is it called. So I tie it once, and then the other way around. It's just two knots on top of each other. And we're gonna hide that in the bead later on. Alright, I have my thread, I have my needle. Let's start. I start with 2 Delika beads. And we're gonna go under the metal here. And I'm gonna go up through the second bead, so that this looks like that. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and place this bead already on top of this loop over here. So I'm going inside the loop and up that bead here. It's really easy, and if you know brick stitch, that's even easier. I pick up another single Delika bead and going through that loop again. And up through that bead. Another one. Right, and now I'm already going to attach the bail to our pendant, and I'm going to make a loop like this above my metal element, above my pendant, so that I can put my beads through this loop over here. So this bead is kind of central, so I'm going to use these two beads. So I'll just go ahead and pick up 5 15-0s, or actually let's do 7. And I'm going to pick up this bail by this lower, smaller loop. And I'm going to go ahead and put my needle through this bead here. It doesn't matter whether you're going from the front or the back, because what you need to do now is go to the other side of the metal element through the loop and buck up through the same bead over here. And you go through the 15-0s back to that last delica bead that you added. So that you go through that bead. And again through the loop in the metal lotus charm. Now I'm gonna go back up through that bead. You can go through the 15-0s maybe one more time, like there and back again, to make it a little bit more sturdy. I'm gonna go straight ahead and continue adding my beads. So I'm adding one more delica into that loop and on top of it. And now it's time to go over to the petal on the side here. So I'm going inside the petal and up through that bead. And just like on the other side, I'm adding one more bead in that petal here. Now we're gonna go to this little petal. So again, one delica through the petal. Now I'm actually going to pick up 1 15-0 in between the delicas. So 1 15-0 first, and then 1 delica bead. And I'm gonna go into that little petal here again. And I'm doing that so that they can have more space between them and that a little point is kind of being made there. So that the 15 will go in between them and they can be more comfortably like spread apart. Just like that. I'm going to actually do that again, and I'm going to pick up a single 15 and then a single delica. And now I'm gonna go into that big petal. Now, make sure that your bead does not come through to the other side with the thread like that. So just keep your finger behind your work to control your beads. I'm gonna add a full row of Delica beads on the bottom part of my charm here. Now right there in the middle, because there's no space like where the bead should be, I'm just going to go through that previous petal and just kind of add it on top of this kind of join here, like that. And the next one I'm going to go in this next petal here on the other side. Now let's add some fun to our pendant. I'm gonna start, as you can see, I finished my row right on the other side of this bottom kind of arch or curved line at the bottom of the pendant. What is going to be the bottom of the pendant anyway. So I'm here, and if you're using the Leicas, you should have 13 beads over here, so like 6, then 1 in the middle and 6. So what I'll do is I pick up 1 15 and 1 Delica, and I'll actually be going under the second thread bridge over here. And I'm going up through the Delica. So this is what you produce. I'm just going to turn it over because I find it easier to work towards my hand with the needle. And what I'll do now is I'll pick up 1 bicone and I'll go under this next thread bridge and add that on. This is what it will look like. Now another single Delica. And I'll actually skip the nearest thread bridge right next to that bicone, and I'll go under the next one. Like that. Now I'll pick up a bicone, and I won't go under the thread bridge, but I'll go through the bead that I have in the middle. Now, if the number of beads that you end up with is even on this like edge, and you have like 2 beads around the center part of your pendant here, then just use a thread bridge and do the thread bridge. I'm gonna go under, that is into that bead, and I'm gonna go out on the other side, and I'm gonna go through that petal that I didn't go through before, and I'm gonna go back up this very same central bead and the bicone as well. So this is what we have. And now this is in the middle, so now it's time to add the dangly part. So I'm picking up 1 Delica, and then my oblong kind of tube element here. I'll add 1 more Delica and 1 more bicone at the end. And I'll block it off with 3 15-ohs. So I'm just going right back through that like kind of fringe sequence that I added until I'm coming out of the bicone, and again I'll be coming out of the delica bead only on the back. And I'm gonna go through one of the petals, up again through that delica bead, and through the bicone. Now the same on the other side, so I actually skip this bridge that is right next to that bicone here, and I go under this next one. Another bicone now. Skipping one thread bridge again. And a delica in the thread bridge next to it. And finally, I'll add a single 15-0 and go through that last bead in this sequence here. Right, so this is where we are. I'm gonna turn my work around again. And now we're gonna work this way a little bit so that we can get here and finish our piece by closing the entire thing with brick stitch over here. So my thread is coming out of this last bead in here, and I need to be coming out of this bead here, and the easiest way to do it is actually going up this next bead in the row over here, and then diagonally through that bead that I want to be coming out of. See, and the thread will just hide over here. Okay, I'm turning this work over now. So I'm coming out of this bead here. I'm going to pick up 2 delicas and go under the thread that's kind of connecting the previous delica with the bicone here, the thread that is exposed in a way. And I'm going up through that second one that I added. I'll add one more under the same thread. And this is going to place itself almost like on top. Next is going under the further thread on the other side of the bicone. Another one. And one more. Make sure your thread doesn't get tangled around that singular tassel that we did, or singular piece of fringe. There, that's what we have. Now I'm gonna go under the thread that goes on one side of the central bicone. And I'll add one more onto the same thread here. Now I'm going to treat this delica that I added in the tassel as if I was just adding it as a piece of my brick stitch. So I'm going through it from the top and under the thread on the other side of the bicone. Oops. And through that central delica here, up, like that. Now I'm gonna add two more on this thread on this side of the bicone. Now jumping on to the next bicone here. And with that last one, remember, I was coming out of this bead, so this is not going to be attached to a thread. This is going to go into this bead here. That's just my tail thread. Alright, so we're almost done here. I'm gonna do the same here, what I did on the other side, so I'm just gonna go into the bead underneath and up through that last bead in the first row. Right, and now all that's left to do is to add the several beads that we added before. So I'm picking up a single 15 and then Miyuki Delica, and I'm going into that little petal here. And again, 115 and 1 Delica, and into that same petal. And I'm gonna go down the very first bead that I added. I'm gonna go up the next bead. I'll make a little knot under this thread here. I just went in between the beads, made a loop, pulled that loop down, went into it, made another loop. And here is the knot. I'm going down the next bead so that the knot can just pop right into it. And maybe up one more bead. And I can cut off the thread. Let's get back to that tail thread for a while. I put it on my needle. So this one already has a knot on it, as you remember, because that's what we started with. So I can just go up this bead and down this next one. And let's go up again. And that's it. That's the pendant. You can just pop it on a bit of chain and it will look quite pretty. Alright guys, that's it for this tutorial. All of the materials that I've shown you today can be found at EurekaCrystalBeads.com. Some of them, like these Ancient Sands findings, are only limited, but you can also brick stitch around different openwork elements and see what you get. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!